We're going to head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason. This one about Baker Mayfield, something that this viewer heard over the weekend.
Hey, just another diehard Browns fan with a question for you. So I was watching the Tomahawk podcast with Joe Thomas and Hawkins. And Joe Thomas said that the Browns offered Baker a contract last season for $30 million a year, and he turned it down. He said he wanted to bet on himself. Is there truth to that? And if so, I wonder how come that never made it out that we even offered him a contract. You know what I mean? So what do you guys think, and how true is that? I'm not saying Joe Thomas don't know what he's talking about. I'm just wondering, that was pretty sick that I wonder why Baker would turn that down, So your thoughts. Go Browns.
All right, so let's listen. This is the Tomahawk podcast with Joe Thomas, Andrew Hawkins, that the caller is referencing.
To me, it seemed like Baker overplayed his hand a little bit, because the interesting thing was at that moment, the Browns were out of the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. And it seemed by all accounts that they were ready to do what it took to smooth things over with Baker. And this was just my speculation, because they offered him a $30 million a year contract last season. He said, no, I'm going to continue to play under this contract. I think I'm worth more, which is fine. That's your right. And, if he would have had a great season, we probably would have been talking about a $40 million a year contract. We would have said, hey, bravo, way to believe in yourself, way to bet on yourself. That was the right move. But he overplayed his hand a little bit, because at that point, the Browns were backed into a corner. He was their quarterback, and he could have said, hey, I realized that you guys went after Deshaun Watson. It didn't sit well with me, but to make it up to me, I need to do something with this contract. You need to commit to me so I can commit to you, right? Let's bring this relationship back together. Let's get remarried. Let's have our 10-year renewal of vows. In this case, the 5-year renewal of our vows. Pay me more money, commit to me, build its team around me, and we go down this river happily ever after. But he didn't say that. He got a little sensitive about it. He got a little bit emotional. And that's when he released this, I'm not going to play for them. And he went radio silence on the Cleveland Browns and said, you have to trade me to the Indianapolis Colts, thinking that he was perceived as a franchise quarterback in the NFL and that he could kind of dictate the terms of where he was going to be traded.
And today, Mary Kay Cabot tweets it was 100% false that Baker Mayfield turned down $30 million a year before the 21 season from the Browns. Nothing imminent on the trade front as far as Baker Mayfield goes. So, G. Bush, before we get into it, I know Mary Kay is a guest on your show. She's a guest here frequently. She has really good sources. She is right most of the time. She's well respected in NFL circles. She had this whole Baker Mayfield in the front office fracture at the end of the season. So I'm going with her on this one because she's right most of the time.
Yeah, when you look at it, Mary Kay has been spot on when it comes to, and a lot of people didn't want to admit it, because, if you go back and you look at where we're at today, and you look at what she was printing when she was writing back then about Baker Mayfield, and where, some people in the Browns fandom may be over evaluating and estimating the worth of Baker Mayfield in the marketplace. And the marketplace has spoken. There's a lot of teams that are out there that went in other directions when they could have went after Baker Mayfield. So in this case, $30 million might have been something that, people were hearing or throwing around, or we kind of figured that was, the market value for a Baker Mayfield. But now when you look at it, that could have been something that, that may have been a starting point for both sides to say, okay, what do you think you're worth? You say, I think, right now as speaking, we would, about 30 million or whatever the case may be. But I don't think the Browns offered Baker Mayfield a deal. I really think that the Browns, if you go back and listen to it, that when you ask Andrew Berry, he said 5 months they've been going through this ordeal with Deshaun Watson. So that means even back in late October, early November, they're already trying to do their due diligence on him. So for me, I don't think after that 4th year, I think we all were like, yo, this is great. We got to the playoffs. We beat the Steelers. That was cool. And Baker's the first quarterback that we've had that has done anything like that. We kind of, put a little extra sauce on it, so to speak. And that wasn't the case with the Browns brass. The Browns brass and a lot of GMs, a lot of talent evaluators had Baker Mayfield in the bottom part of the league as far as starting quarterbacks. and they believed that they needed to have an upgrade. So we're kind of bearing that out today. I don't ever think when they went after Deshaun Watson, they ever had in their mind they were going to just go back to Baker. I thought that was already a done deal. When they moved on and said he's not good enough to get us where we want to go, which is the Super Bowl, I think they said if it was not going to be Deshaun Watson, it'll be somebody else. I don't think Baker was coming back past that point.